Tuesday, during a completely mundane afternoon. I was looking for a misplaced notebook in my university's library basement, a place already thick with the smell of old dust and forgotten paper. I stepped backward, my heel catching on the edge of a loose floorboard. But instead of falling onto the hard linoleum, there was a sickening, momentary tear in the fabric of reality. The world tilted, the colors smeared, and I fell through the floor. I didn't hit the ground below. I just fell through the solid matter of the earth, plunging into a deafening silence. When I opened my eyes, the library was gone. The dust was gone. I was lying on a damp, stiff carpet that smelled overwhelmingly of stale water and old, cheap wool. The air was heavy, warm and stagnant like the breath of a dying furnace. I stood up, my knees shaking, and looked around. Everywhere I cast my eyes, there was nothing but monochromatic yellow wallpaper, aged by what looked like decades of neglect, covered every single wall. And then there was the noise, a relentless, piercing, high-octane buzz. It was the fluorescent lights overhead. They weren't just bright. They hummed with a maddening, vibrating frequency that immediately dug into the back of my skull. It sounded like thousands of tiny, angry insects trapped behind the plastic casing. I turned around, looking for the hole I had just fallen through. But there was only a solid yellow wall. I knocked on it. It felt entirely real, cold and unyielding. Panic, cold and sharp, flooded my chest as I realized there was no door, no window, no exit. I began to walk, my sneakers squelching faintly against the damp carpet. The layout made absolutely no sense. It wasn't a hallway. It was a chaotic, non-Euclidean maze of empty rooms. Some rooms were small like closets, others open and vast like abandoned office floors, but all of them were identical in their maddening yellow hue. I called out, shouting for help until my throat felt raw, but my voice didn't echo. The damp carpet and the porous ceiling tiles seemed to swallow the sound instantly, leaving only the eternal, oppressive hum of the lights. Hours must have passed, though it was impossible to tell. There were no clocks, and the fluorescent glare never shifted, never dimmed. My phone had no signal. The clock on the screen frozen at the exact minute. I fell through the floor. 3:14 p.m. I was entirely alone in a desert of wallpaper and carpet. Just as exhaustion began to pull at my limbs, I noticed a dark smudge on the wall at the end of a long corridor. It looked like someone had dragged a heavy, dirty object against the plaster.